To the June Azure Arc Server Forum. Thank you again for joining. We know this is summer vacation time for some folks as well, with the summer kicking off. We're excited to have a fun agenda planned for today. We're going to have Yao share the Arc Server AI agent. Then we'll have Jalen provide some updates with the Azure Arc Multicloud connector. And finally, we'll be speaking to a little bit about extended security updates. Believe it or not, the next round of ESUs are actually here with SQL extended security updates starting from July of this year and Windows Server extended security updates starting from January of next year, 2027. So we'll share some updates and information about ESUs. I believe Raj will be able to join as well for that. And I'll share from the Windows Server side. Be on the lookout. We'll send more advisory materials and help to you all via the newsletter as well as we help prepare customers to onboard. One other note, we will be taking a break for July, just anticipating summer absences. We know July is a very frequent travel month and kicking things back off from August with our server forum. So with that, before the Arc Server AI agent demo, where I'll be inviting Yao up, we did want to provide a quick update in terms of our agent updates. So we had our most recent agent release, Agent 1.65, that got released with their June updates. And there were a number of guest config AZCM agent improvements across features. There were a few bug fixes and security fixes as well. But again, this is a reminder for you to stay on the latest and greatest Azure Arc Server agent version. That's how you're going to be able to access all of those new capabilities. And with the auto agent upgrade capability as well, it's easier than ever to stay on the latest Arc agent version. So highly recommend staying up to date with that. You can see our full release notes in the What's New with the Azure Connected Machine agent, and that's documented well as well. So with that, we'll go ahead and kick things off, and I'll invite Yao up to share more about the Azure Arc Server AI agent. Thank you, Yao.
Thank you. Hello, everyone. I'm excited to be in this meeting. So this is a very new project that I am currently working on, and I want to get some feedback from you guys. So starting from sort of the problem statement, as you might know, the traditional Azure Arc onboarding experience requires user to manually input configuration parameters through Azure Portal, which then will generate a PowerShell or Bash script. And then the script automates the download and installation of the AZCM agent CLI, and then runs the connect command. To address the complexity and manual overhead of traditional workflows, I developed an intelligent automation solution to minimize human intervention on machine onboarding and troubleshooting. It will provide conversational guidance through prerequisite validation, connection establishment, and issue resolution. So what it looks like is that it will be a new AZCM agent CLI command that integrates with LLM to provide capabilities on machine onboarding and troubleshooting. And there are 3 subcommands: health check, which analyze machine prerequisite, network connectivity, and system configuration before onboarding even begins. And there will be a onboarding subcommand, which is a step-by-step walk through the connection process, and also collect user input and execute the connect command. And last but not least, there is a troubleshooting subcommand, which can scan through HIMDS log and AZCM agent logs for any known error patterns, and then get AI insights. And I will start with a quick demo. Can everyone see my screen? Awesome. So if you can, as you can see, if you run AZCM agent assist, there will be 3 different three different paths you can go. The first one is run health check. And then if you click 1, it will run a list of AZCM agent commands, which checks the prerequisite before onboarding. And here you can see that it's saying that, oh, you're not in admin privilege. And then it will also show what operation system you're working on, you're running on, and then where does the agent binary sits on, and if the HMDS service is responsive. It will also show you the current agent status, which is disconnected, what agent version you've installed, some of the availability of the dependent service, and also the extension status. But since we're not in admin privilege, it won't show you a list of extensions. And then here it will ask you if you want to collect a diagnostic log. And if you click no, it will just exit. So that's the bare minimum, which just helps you to verify if you have network connectivity and also like AZCM agent installed. Let me share something else. So that's not AI related, but it helps you to understand what might be missing before you proceed with onboarding. So if you run guided onboarding, there are two options. Traditional wizard is just step by step with fixed questions, which is not AI related. And then for the sake of time, I'll just choose with Chat AI. Which will start a new session with the regional OpenAI endpoint that we set up. And it might take some time to connect. But basically, we're just trying to establishing a session with the AI agent with our built-in prompt so that it can specialize on questions related to Azure Arc. Okay, so we've established the connection, and then this is the initial response of the AI agent. As you can see, it's asking you to input a list of required parameters, such as tenant ID, subscription ID, resource group name, etc. And then it also provides a simple description on what each parameter is, and then how it should look like. This is helpful for first-time users who might not know where to find the tenant ID or the subscription ID. And then the difference between this and the portal experience is that this is a conversation session you have with the AI agent. So you can type any questions in natural language, such as where to find my subscription ID on portal. And then the AI would respond, well, you can find the subscription ID in Azure Portal in a couple ways, and that's the first method, that's the second method. And I will just type all the required parameters all at once. But in a real life user scenario, you can just type the subscription ID and then go on with the next required parameter. Okay, and then as you can see, the AI is able to collect all the required parameters, and then it will ask if you want to connect your device to Azure Arc. And then because I've already connected, so I won't give it an order to execute the command, but you get the workflow. Jeff?
Yeah, this looks cool. Would you be able to say install the Arc agent, but like do not install the SQL extension as part of this, or?
Is a SQL extension, if the SQL extension is the built-in extension that gets installed along with the agent, then no. But there is a what we call a whitelist, which we include a list of commands that the AI agent can run for you. And then currently extension related commands is not in the list. So the agent won't be able to do any operations related to extension. But if there is a strong need of it being able to work with extensions, we can expand the list.
Yeah, I'll ping you on the side. Thanks so much. This looks neat.
Awesome. So I'll just exit instead of connecting because I'm already connected, and I will show you what the troubleshooting command does. And similar to guided
while you're doing that, Yao, there is a question in the chat asking if this is targeted for single machines or can this target a specific machine?
So right now this is only targeting a single machine, but sorry, is the question like, is it targeting like a group of machines or just single machines, right?
Correct.
Yeah. So
Yeah,
how do we leverage this at scale? I have 2,000 machines that I need to onboard.
So right now this is only working for the only one machine, but we do have plan to being able to sort of like, for example, do like guided onboarding. We do have plan to enable the agent to be able to run, like iterate through all the machines you have and then connected them all at once.
Okay, great. Thank you.
Yeah, but it's not available right now.
Yeah, no, understood.
Yeah. So go back to the topic. For troubleshooting, it's the similar setup as the guided onboarding. You have the traditional analysis, which just scan through the HMDS log and then ACM agent logs locally, and then return any known error patterns. You can choose to get AI insights or not, but we will just start with check with AI. So similar setup as the guided onboarding, but this time, instead of returning all the required parameters you need to input, it will straight up ask you what issue you're experiencing with Azure Arc. And I can just say something like, I don't know how to check my network connectivity. And the AI would return a list of remediation process, and then it will ask, hey, if you want to run ACM agent check, that's the command in the whitelist that I can run for you. So I'll just press yes. And then it runs the ACM agent check with all the result. And then it doesn't just stop there, right? It will memorize what you have asked, and then it will continue the conversation. For example, you can run ACM agent show because ACM agent check return the result that it returns. It seems like everything is fine. Then, do you want to run this ACM agent show? And you can set yes, and it will run it for you. And then it will summarize that your machine seems to be connected, but you asked before about the network connectivity and you've already checked them. What you can do next is, maybe run extension list to see if there's the extension installation is successful, or if you need more details for troubleshooting, you can go to the local HMDS log or ACM agent log. And then if you're tired, like if you want to close the session, you can just like type exit. So that's the current status of the project. Is there any questions, feedback, comments?
Yeah, there has been a few questions in the chat.
Okay. Let me take a look. Okay, any plan to have the Arc telemetry home to 2 subscriptions instead of 1? I'm not sure if that's related to this project. Rahul, do you want to explain a little bit more?
Yeah, not for this project, but for Arc in general.
Got it.
I'm not sure about that.
We'll let other PMs for that questions. And then I guess to summarize, Yao, I think folks are interested. I'm seeing questions in two parts. One is related to what kind of model this is utilizing, and is this something that we need configuration involved, or we will host the OpenAI endpoint? And then how is the cost of the token factor in?
So our team is going to host the original OpenAI endpoint. So you don't need extra authentication to be able to use this feature, because we set our OpenAI endpoint to accept the AED token, so that basically the user flow would be similar to what I've just demoed. You just need to install the latest ASM agent CLI, which comes along with the installation script, or you can install it separately. And I think a pop-up, like an authentication window, would pop up. This is to obtain AAD token and then make sure that all the incoming requests are authenticated. And then you will be able to use the AI feature. In terms of the cost of tokens, because this is a very early stage of the project, we only set the limitation of token for each request and each user per day, but we haven't calculated specific numbers in terms of how much it's going to cost us. But that's something we will be working on towards later stage of the project.
Got it. And then there's one more question, and then I think while you're answering that, Yao, I will direct folks to the polls, and then we can capture some of the questions async. One question from Fabio is, can the Azure Arc AI agent pre-flight help us identify issues related to proxy, TLS inspections, or anything concerning connectivities and resolution?
Yes, it should. So what the prereq check does is that it will run a list of ASM agent command, like ASM agent check, ASM agent log, etc. So what the purpose of it is that, this is going to be beneficial for users who don't know how to differentiate different ASM agent commands. So we wrote a command that will run all the checks step by step, so that you don't miss any subcommands that you should run. And should we direct them to the poll, Bonnie?
Yes, I just launched the poll, and then we'll transition to the next topic. Thank you so much, Yao.
Thank you.
Awesome. Thanks so much, Yao, and thank you, Bonnie, for this. We'll give folks like a minute or two to wrap up the poll, and then we'll invite Jalen to come up next. I can do a screen share. Or Jalen, would you prefer to share your screen?
Arnav, you can take it. It's that same slide in the deck we're using.
Okay, perfect. I'll just go ahead and present Teams. Great. Awesome. I think we're at the slide now. Go ahead, Jalen.
Awesome. Thanks so much, Arnav. Hi, everyone. I am Jalen McGee, a product manager on the Arc platform team. And today I'll share some context on the Arc multi-cloud connector. I assume folks are pretty familiar with it. I've presented on it in this same form before, but if you're not, it essentially is a product that allows you to connect your Azure environment with your AWS or GCP environment. And essentially scan at regular intervals your AWS or GCP environment, and then create an inventory of your AWS or GCP estate in Azure. And then we have certain solutions that enable certain capabilities, like we have the Arc onboarding solution, that makes it so anytime an EC2 instance on AWS or a GCP VM is discovered, it can be automatically Arc onboarded without you having to take any manual action. And then we, of course, have just a regular inventory solution that allows you to create that inventory that we talked about. So since the last time I presented on the connector in this forum, we now have launched GCP support in public preview. And this includes support for both your entire GCP organization or specific GCP projects. So now you can create a GCP connector, and then you connect that with your GCP environment, and then it scans at regular intervals that you are able to set. And then also on the AWS side, for our AWS multi-cloud connector, we now have EKS onboarding solution in public preview. So this, as I mentioned, it automatically Arc enables discovered EKS clusters. So just like we have the EC2 onboarding solution for AWS, we now have the EKS onboarding solution in public preview. So for those customers who have significant AWS or GCP estates, we have capabilities available now for you to leverage the connector. And then I also wanted to shed some light on some capabilities we have coming soon. We don't have exact ETAs for these capabilities, but if any of them pique your interest and you are really eager to learn more or try them out, please feel free to reach out to me directly. And for any of these previews or early customer conversations, I'd love to chat with you all if you have a certain interest in any of these items coming soon. First is GKE support. So just like we have EKS on the AWS side, we're working on GKE support on the GCP side. So this essentially just makes it so once a GKE cluster is discovered, it can automatically be Arc enabled. We're also working on a simplified GCP connector configuration experience. For any customers who have tried out the multi-cloud connector, you know that in Azure Portal, once you configure it, you get a template or a script that you need to today run on the GCP or AWS side. And so what we're working on for the GCP experience specifically is enabling you to use Azure Cloud Shell to configure your GCP connector so that you never have to leave Azure to complete the connector configuration. Today, you have to go to GCP and go to your console there and run a couple commands to authenticate your connector and those things. But we're working on an experience that makes it so you never have to leave Azure for GCP specifically. Additionally, we're working on a lifecycle management solution. So this is another solution that will be available for both connectors, where you will be able to start, stop, and restart your VMs or EC2s with no agent required. So even if you don't have the Arc agent installed, you will be able to use this lifecycle management solution to start, stop, and restart those resources. We're also working on introducing an Azure Monitor solution, which will essentially make it so if you leverage Azure Monitor, you'll be able to automatically add the Azure Monitor extension on any of your Arc-enabled EC2s or Arc-enabled resources in general through the connector. So this is a really helpful solution that will make it so you don't have to manually intervene and install the Azure Monitor extension on any Arc-enabled resources. The connector simply facilitates that for you. And then lastly, we're working on a solution health capability, which will give you more insight into how well your solutions are working. And particularly, we're looking to give you insight into how many of your discovered EC2s or how many of your discovered VMs were Arc-enabled successfully. So today, there's not a ton of insight that you get into how how well your solutions are actually performing their duties. But we are working on an experience that will make that give you more insight into that. So we're really excited about these capabilities coming soon. As I mentioned, we don't have concrete dates for these quite yet, but if you're interested, please feel free to reach out to me directly, and I'm happy to work with you to get you involved in previews or at least get your feedback on some of these things that we're planning. So thanks so much. Let's see if there are any
Awesome.
questions. I don't think there are, but if there are, please feel free to ping me.
Sounds great. I think there's some questions in the chat,
Oh.
but I think you'll be able to respond to those async. Awesome.
Gotcha.
Appreciate it,
Oh,
Jalen. Next, we're going to have Raj share about SQL Server extended security updates. So I'm going to actually have Raj, he's going to share his own slides there and take over. So excited to have you on, Raj, to share more about SQL Server extended security updates. Yes, use.
Yeah. Okay. Thanks, Arno. How much time I have, Arno? Just in case to
Like 15 minutes.
15 minutes. Okay, sounds good. Let me share my desktop. Let me know once you start seeing it.
Yep.
Okay, it's a great thing. Okay. So my name is Raj Pochiraju, and I'm a principal program manager in Azure SQL Group, primarily focused on SQL Server, extended security updates for SQL Server, and I also look after SQL Server licensing models and building as well. So today I want to present to you that SQL Server 2016, after 10 years of mainstream support and extended support, it's reaching the end of the support by July 14th, 2026. Right. So that's the event where we no longer support 2016, but there are plenty of customers out there that they are kind of still running their workloads on SQL Server 2016, and they need some time to be able to modernize. Either they want to migrate to Azure SQL or upgrade to the latest supported versions. We understand that it's going to take some time. So we want to make sure that these environments are secured and maintained secured and also follow through the compliance. That's the whole reason that Microsoft, after the support ends, Microsoft comes up with the extended security updates plan so that it can deliver if there are any critical security vulnerabilities that are found from Microsoft Security Support Center are marked as the critical updates. Then we will go and then release these extended update security update, and we want to make sure that we continue that. So the way extended security updates, you might all know, but just let me report, they don't really work on a specific cadence, just like how other cumulative updates, monthly updates, and 2 months updates that we generally do. They don't have any cadence, the ESUs. We only release those security updates, extended security updates, only when there is a need, when there is a vulnerability that Microsoft Support Center recognize that as a critical update that we need to do it. So that's the thing. And we do that for next 3 years, actually, so that it will give ample time for the customers to plan about how they want to really manage their SQL Server 2016 environment, upgrading, migrating to cloud and all stuff, right? The versions that are qualified for extended security updates now is 2014. It has one more year to has that coverage, and 2016 is going to start from July 15th. Like I said, only we produce security updates. No features or no other fixes that are non-security fixes are available. Who qualifies that? The customers who have software assurance agreement for their SQL servers, they are qualified to sign up for ESUs, or they can they can connect their SQL servers to Arc and then switch to pay-as-you-go license model, or they migrate to Azure, like in terms of the VMs, or if they migrate to SQL PaaS, then they don't even need to worry about you don't need to worry about external security updates because PaaS is always current and secure, right? Or migrate to the VM. So those are the three ways that you can get qualified. And then how to subscribe, like I mentioned, all the pre-requirements, and active software assurance, or enroll with Azure Arc and switch to pay-as-you-go, or migrate to the Azure VMs, or even to PaaS, which is a good thing. So I'm going to reiterate that The way that you buy licenses is by virtual cores. So if you have a bunch of those guest VMs that are hosting SQL servers with unsupported versions like 2016 or 2014, you can buy subscription for the extended security updates by the vCores for each of those VMs. Or if you are having a big physical machine without VMs, you can also go by physical cores. And then there is a concept called unlimited virtualization in case if you have a big SQL with physical cores, but then bunch of these guest VMs that are hosting bunch of those SQL servers, and then you find out that paying through actual physical cores is more economical than paying it for each of those virtual machines. You can also activate that the P cores with unlimited virtualization. So those are the three different topologies. Whichever topology that fits to you, you can buy, you can subscribe for that. What changed with Azure SQL VM for 2016? In order for us to have a consistent pricing experience for all these extended security updates across on-premises connected to the Azure hybrid model and as well as Azure SQL VMs, starting from 2016, when you migrate your SQL Server to Azure SQL VM running on 2016, the extended security update is no longer free. You still need to buy that. Right? That's the difference between 2014 and now. So I want to make sure that you note that. And the pricing is not changed. The pricing is same for 2014 when it comes to extended security updates for 2014 and as well as 2016. That's not changed, right? So those are the basic things that you can think about when it comes to extended security updates. So that's the thing. Now let me give a quick demo how to leverage Arc to enable. So the way that you can really get access to the, I'm not seeing the questions, so I'm going to be answering any of those questions after my presentation is done. So the way that you subscribe or sign up for extended security updates for SQL mainly through Arc. So make sure that you connect your SQL servers to Arc, make them as SQL servers enabled by Azure Arc. And then you simply can go to the Arc in Azure portal. Either you can subscribe in individual SQL VMs to ESUs, or you can do it at scale. So I'm going to show you demo here. I have Arc SQL Server here. So this scenario applies for any of the SQL Server which is running outside of Azure, right? Whether it is running in your branch office or Azure local or running on-premises world or data center or even a complete world, right? Or in other places, right? Hosting environments. Then you can Arc enable that SQL Server, and then you go to Arc resource here. There is a place here you see that SQL Server configuration, right? And this is the place where you go and then start signing up for extended security updates. So there are two main sections here. One section is license type, and there is another section is extended security updates. These are two different sections actually and serve different purposes. The first section, license type, is you're talking about licensing your SQL Server in general, whether you want to go with the pay-as-you-go or you already have an SA and license with software assurance, or you just have license only, right? You never had software assurance for that. So this section defines the way that you are licensing your SQL Server. The section below to that is the section which is going to define how you want to subscribe for extended security updates, right? These are kind of independent sections, but I think the above section is going to provide you the qualification for whether you are qualified for buying extended security updates or not. For example, if you would have selected license only, and that won't qualify you to subscribe for extended security updates. So this whole section would have been disabled, right? So this section is going to define the qualification, but this section is going to tell you whether you are going to be subscribing it or not, right? So there are two options here. One is subscribe and obviously unsubscribe, right? Subscribe extended security updates. You use this option to subscribe. Then the physical cores with the ESU license. You select this option only in a specific scenario. The scenario is, remember I talked about running your SQL servers with unlimited virtualization. If that becomes as less expensive for you as compared to license each and every guest VM with virtual cores to buy extended security update. So you got to do that math, right? So if you think that I'm running my SQL Server on a physical box, but I got a bunch of these VMs and I'm, using unlimited virtualization privilege that Microsoft provided through that license. And now I want to use the same for extended security updates as well. Then you're going to use this option, but you also need to let us know that how many physical cores that you want to buy that way, right? Then only you are going to be using this option. Otherwise, by selecting this option, we know how many vCores that you have automatically that we can bill you. In case if you are running in a physical machine with no VMs on it, all the SQL instances on the physical, then we also know the physical cores on it. So we can bill you automatically either on virtual cores or a physical cores, depending on how your SQL Server topology exists. That is good enough. Use this option only when you want to leverage licenses with the unlimited virtualization. Otherwise, just keep unselected, right? And then once the subscription is done, whenever that security update is available, then the way that we can able to deploy your machines is by doing updates. You can do enable auto updates so that you can go and then deploy these ones there. Or you can manually download them as well if you don't want to use these updates. Or you can use Azure Update Manager as well, or Windows Update, or legacy ways of managing through System Center, right? Doesn't matter, whichever method that you use to update your updates, it will know that you subscribe for extended updates, and then it will render the the updates to you guys. I think there was a question, and then somebody raised the hand, and then down it. Is there a question? Okay, sounds good. So this is how you do it for a SQL Server which is running outside of Azure. For a SQL Server which is running already on Azure VM, the experience is pretty similar. We want to make sure that the experience is very consistent across, whether you coming with Arc enabled SQL Server or through a SQL VM which is already running on Azure VM. So you go to the SQL configuration, same section, and then you subscribe here, right? Like I said, there's a separate section. SQL licenses talks about the actual license of your SQL on the VM, but this is more about extended security updates, and you subscribe it. If you notice it, there is no PCore license option here, right? Because that doesn't apply for VMs running on Azure VM. That only applies to the SQL servers which are running outside of Azure, especially in the data centers and your office spaces, where you have this physical machine and then a bunch of SQL instances on it without virtual machines. And then maybe you might think that's the place where the physical cores come into play. Unlimited if you want a bunch of VMs running on it and you want to leverage the unlimited virtualization, then only the P cores comes into play. But here it doesn't apply. So that's why you don't see it. Make sense? Do you have 1 more minute, Arna? 1 or 2 minutes?
Sure, 1 more minute if you want to quickly go.
So the last option, like if you have a bunch of SQL servers which are unsupported versions that are 2016 and running on-prem, and you don't have any plans to Arc enable them, but you have software assurance. How do you buy that? How do you get, right? So that's in that option, we still support volume licensing, so you can go and buy through volume licensing, so that you don't need to connect with Arc and then not leveraging the pay-as-you-go or anything of that nature if you don't have any plans, because we think doing through Arc is our preferred way. But in case if you can not Arc enable, you can still go with the volume licensing. But how to get that patch once you buy that? The way that you can get that extended update rendered to you, the package, you still need to register with Arc. So the way that you do is you go to the SQL instances here and then add. There are 2 options here, right? This option, the connect one, is going to Arc enable your SQL Server. That is the best way that you can get ES-use for sure, because the billing is more of an Azure way of billing it, pay as you go. You can get the you can use all the auto update options to get your update applied to your machines when it is ready. But then if you cannot do that, you went with volume licensing. All you do is you just register your SQL Server with the registration. You're not connecting to it. You're just only providing the basic information in terms of the metadata of your SQL Server. Just an object, container Nothing real exists, only the metadata. That way we can provide you the access to the extended security update through this experience, only to get that access. So only use this option at that point of time, right? So with that, I think I thought I covered all the scenarios. We talked about how to subscribe for various topologies like virtual cores, physical cores with no virtual machines, with unlimited virtualization we talked about, Arc versus SQL VM we talked about. When you cannot Arc enable your SQL Server, we talked about volume licensing and how to deal with that. We talked about all these scenarios. So I'm going to rest right there. If you guys have any questions, I'm more than happy to answer, or you can even type in the chat so that I'm going to answer a little bit later. But thank you so much for giving me the time, Arnav.
Awesome. Thanks so much, Raj. With that, we'll switch over to our last topic. We'll talk about Windows Server 2016 extended security updates as well. And I do think that there are quite a few updates in the questions in the chat, Raj, if you're interested. So we'll go ahead and resume here. So there's a little bit of time versus SQL Server until the Windows Server ESUs start, but Windows Server 2016 is going to reach end of support in January 2027, and customer enrollment, etc., will likely begin September, October timeframe for folks. So what's coming up next? Customers will need to enroll their machines through Arc. They'll need to provision their ESU licenses and link those licenses for enrollment. We want to reiterate that the Arc solution is applicable across hybrid multi-cloud edge. So across VMware, Hyper-V, Nutanix environments, Azure Local, as well as infrastructure running on other public clouds like AWS, GCP, Oracle Cloud, you're able to use the Arc connected extended security update option across all of those. So the core experience is going to be very similar through Arc compared to 2012, but there are a couple of differences that we wanted to just call out. First, there's going to be no dev test or Visual Studio benefit offering that's going to be free. So customers can no longer do the tagging that they would be able to previously do in order to get access to ESUs for free there. They will need to pay for dev test and Visual Studio scenarios as well through Arc. So that's the first major change. The second major change is there's not going to be a transition scenario, or there's going to be ability for folks to basically go from volume licensing via Arc. So that's actually not available to that's been available today and for previous versions as well. But that's not going to be something we're offering in the future. You have to pick Arc, you have to pick VL, but it's not a transition scenario that we're going to support. There are some improvements that are going to be made. There'll be additional benefits through essential machine management, so additional management services that are going to be available with extended security updates. There's also going to be ease of integrations across multi-cloud. You can use the Azure Arc proxy, the gateway, etc. So that helps reduce some of the networking friction and onboarding friction we've seen. And there are going to be subtle enhancements across the Azure portal experience, across documentation to really make this a more usable, cogent experience. Finally, it was announced, and this shouldn't be new news to folks, but like SQL Server, there's going to be a pricing consistency update. So what that means is customers are charged for Windows Server extended security updates on Azure VMs, on Azure VMware Solution, and Azure Local for Windows Server 2016. Now, we know this wasn't the case with Windows Server 2012, so customers should anticipate that if they're running 2016 infra on Azure native environments or even Azure Local, they will be charged for it with this announced pricing update. Some things that are not changing that customers have asked about, requirements from a licensing perspective remain same in terms of PCOR minimums, etc. Two, software assurance continues to be a hard requirement in order to enroll and attest to that, in order to enroll in extended security updates. And finally, third, we'll continue to have back billing. So if you enroll later in the program, you will continue to get charged up until the start of the Windows Server 2016 ESU program, because that correlates to time where you were able to access the ESU benefit and patches as well. So those are some of the changes that are coming and stuff that's not changing that we've had questions about. So concrete next steps for you all. One, plan your deployment, especially the networking options and prerequisites, and ensure you have the latest SSU downloaded on your Windows Server instances. Two, connect your Windows Server to Azure Arc, start early. We know it can be a multi-month process, so you're going to need to have that time as well. 3, you're going to need to provision your Windows Server 2016 ESU licenses, etc., following license guidelines across standard data center virtual physical cores. And then once you've done that, you're able to link those ESU licenses to your Arc servers in order to enroll. The billing for this is going to start from Jan 2027, so only when the ESU program starts, and patches are going to be deployable in your offering of choice, whether that's Azure Update Manager, available complimentarily to our Windows Server 2016 ESU customers, but you can also use Configuration Manager, etc., and third-party tools for the patches as well. And I want to clarify that this is for Windows Server. For SQL Server, the dev test and ESU is still going to be offered. So this is specific to Windows Server, the changes that I mentioned, responding to Terry in the chat. So that's a quick overview of Windows Server 2016 ESUs. And if you're interested, you can actually enroll in there's a private preview that's going to go on. So you can enroll in that as well. And that's posted in the Azure Arc blog, where we also have a recap and summary of all of the Arc community calls. With that, I have one last topic. I did want to share that I'm actually going to be leaving Microsoft. This is my LinkedIn, and this is my email if you want to stay in touch with me. It's been an absolute pleasure getting to host the Arc Server Forum. I know I started this back in 2023. I'm really looking forward to seeing all of the continued engagement with the community, and it's been great to really see this blossom. Going forward, Mason and Megan from the Arc platform team are going to be taking this forward, so you're in really, really good hands. And again, as I mentioned, we'll be skipping the July session, but if you want to stay in touch, this is my contact information, etc. But thank you all for joining again, and wish you a wonderful summer break. And again, we'll be back in August with the next Arc Server Forum. All right. Thank you all.